Just waiting for it. Here we go. Hello and welcome to today's See You Next Thursday and our Everton Headlock special with our even more special guest, Ed25 or Bilbo Baggins. How are you, Bill?
I'm fine, thanks, Chris, and good evening, anyone who's listening.
Well, I think it's a bit soon to have anybody listening, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Literally just put it up, so that's a point. We should ask Phil to link up the pod. Because there's no Seamus to do that for us this week. He normally does all that.
No.
So
He's too busy with his women. That's what it is.
Women, that's the thing. So many, bless him. He's a player now, isn't he, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, sort of. So anyway, we're mostly going to talk about Everton, but we'll save that till the end because there's a lot to talk about with Everton, as I think we know. Not just their relegation trouble, but obviously there's been a lot going on. So yeah, we need to discuss that properly. Right, so we're starting with, where is it? I've lost the bloody thing. There we go. Sorry, apologies. I'd lost the notes we got, and I couldn't find the list because I had so many screens up. It's like trying to find which one I want. Right, so we start with the transfers, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, good idea, Chris.
So obviously, we'll start with Wolves. They've signed experienced Spain winger Pablo Sarabia from Paris Saint-Germain. Only 4.4 million. It's not a bad price considering.
It doesn't seem a bad price, does it? No, he looks okay as well. But for that sort of money, I think it's a good acquisition for Wolves.
Yeah, he obviously isn't that bad, or he wouldn't have been at what do you call it? Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah, they.
Yeah, it sounds a good acquisition. That
and
they do need a couple of players. Yeah,
he certainly did well at Sevilla, didn't he? So.
Yeah.
And like Lopetegui used him at Sevilla. So we must know him well. You would think.
Yeah.
So apart from that, anything else? Wolverhampton, they've also signed Mario Lemina as well, haven't they? They used to play for Southampton, wasn't it?
Yeah, what's Southampton he played for? Or Sunderland, I can't remember now, Lemina.
I'm sure it was Southampton. Didn't he also go on loan to somebody at Fulham or somebody?
Yeah, we were interested in him at one time, but he obviously never come to us.
Well, he isn't that bad, is he? Let's be honest. He obviously thought better of it because he could play for the decent team. Is that right, yeah?
That's about right, yeah. Absolutely.
Like Fulham.
Oh, I see, yeah. So,
other than that, they've not really done all. They still need a proper striker, but I suppose maybe they're hoping one of the ones they've got comes good, such as what's his face, Raul Jimenez comes back to his place.
Jimenez is a good player, isn't he? But he hasn't been the same since he had that accident with his head, and he hasn't looked the same type of player, really, has he?
And Diego Costa, even though he's starting to get towards match fitness, he's well past his best. So I think it was a bit of a desperation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Signing. Seems a bit of an
odd signing agree more.
To me. I think that's.
I think it's well past his best.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake, but it was a cheap punt, and why not at the time?
Yeah, didn't need the players, man.
Another one of Everton's rivals in the relegation fight. Forest are doing business as well. They're trying to sign Chris Wood from Newcastle, and they've signed Danilo, young midfielder, defensive midfielder. very highly rated. So
Yeah, yeah. So, no, everyone except Everton, by the looks of it, are doing business at the bottom end of the table. And as you say, Danilo is a big signing for them, I feel like.
I
And
think
what
so.
was it, 16 million, was it, Tris, for Danilo?
16, yep, correct. I think that might be more. What do you call it though? I think there might be more on add-ons
The
later to come.
add-ons,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I think there might be a bit more. I think it'll end up being about 20 million probably.
Yeah, yeah.
So be interesting to see how he gets on because it's like I said, he's very highly rated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big coup for them, I think. You know, they've signed a lot of players, but he seems the best one they've signed up to now. And they're not doing too bad, are they? You know, for a club who they basically built up this year. They're doing okay. I thought they'd do a lot worse than what they are doing. And he seems to be got a fighting spirit as well there. And I think they're overachieving at the moment. Things can change, but I think they're doing really well at the moment.
When you sign that many players, it's a miracle that they've been able to be
Yeah,
competitive. To be fair, I mean you got to give props to Steve Cooper, and he said
yeah.
Tommy Cooper then. Fuck's sake, not quite.
As you say, when you sign that many players, that's why I thought they were scared to go down. To try and get players to gel so quickly and get results he's basically performed a miracle there with all them new players and just come right into the side. I think he's done an amazing job.
I'm absolutely shocked he managed to do it. To be honest,
Yeah,
I
yeah, very much so.
I didn't think they'd be anywhere near this level so quickly. He's done really well. I mean, I know he did well at Liverpool when he was, and he's done well with England at youth level. But it's a completely different thing to actually take a top, working with these egos at the top flight Premier League
Yeah,
players. And I've got to say, I've been very impressed with him, to be honest.
yeah, me too, trust me too.
Shall we move on to another one of the relegation battlers, Bournemouth? They've
Yeah,
their new owner, Bill Foley's been is in the middle of buying Lorient, and he's also bought one of their wingers, Dango Otara, for
Otara, yeah,
Bournemouth.
he was another one linked to Everton.
Well,
It's another one out the window that's gone for us. But Everton were highly interested in him apparently, and he's gone to Bournemouth. And you know, although I think they're still one of the favourites to go down,
have to be.
they're making a fist of it. They are making a fist of it. And to sign a player like him, what do you call it? Is he a £20 million player, Trish?
Yeah, 20 million again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good signing for Bournemouth. Very good signing.
Yeah, I mean they look to be doing well as well, But yeah, you just can't see it continuing. You have to think that.
Yeah, it's sustaining it, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
and
But they're doing okay.
there's always one team that tends to just drop like a stone after a good start.
Stone, yeah, yeah,
Always is, and you'd have to fear for them because they just don't look like they've got enough to sustain a challenge in the top half like they've
yeah,
done so far. Especially as some of the other clubs, you would expect them to improve.
yeah,
So then we're on
yeah.
to. Should we move? We'll stick with the
Chelsea.
relegation. Oh no, I was thinking we'd stick with the relegation battlers first, but yeah,
Oh,
why
go
not?
on, then, mate.
Chelsea they're the way they're going, they might be in the relegation battle, so maybe we should
Yeah, pretty
include them.
much so, yeah.
Yeah. So they've signed Mikhailo Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk. They paid
Yes,
62 million.
stolen from Arsenal, really. It looks as though he's
No,
going
no,
to
no, no,
Arsenal
no.
at one
That's
stage.
not quite true. They Arsenal never managed to get Shakhtar. Never even got close to Shakhtar's
Oh,
asking
right, because
price.
he was heavily linked with them, wasn't he?
Yes, because he'd posted up things on his social media saying about joining Arsenal. Basically, he'd been, he was like, but his actual he wasn't. Wasn't even close.
Okay.
He'd upset basically Arsenal had upset Shakhtar Donetsk owner with the way they dealt with it, so they were never going to get him. It was always who else would come in. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's a lot of money to pay. I mean, it's potentially nearly £90 million plus,
And he
with
hasn't
the
played that many
bonuses as
games,
well.
has he, really?
Less than 60 games in first team football. Yeah, he's 22
It's
as
a
well, which so it's not like he's like 18, 19. So this is
No, it's a massive gamble, I think, for Chelsea. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's a very interesting sign because when I've seen him, he's looked like an excellent player. It's got to be said. He's looked
yeah.
really exciting, a really good player, and he looked like if he turns out to be the player he looks like, it looks like a good signing. But it's not a lot of you've not got a lot to judge him on at all with so few games. It's quite it's
No, but
worrying.
the nice thing about that is the 20 odd million that they're hoping to donate of the fee to the Ukrainian war effort for families involved in that, which is a great thing to do. I wish more clubs would,
Mm.
especially in European clubs, donating to causes like that out of a massive transfer fee, which it is a massive transfer fee.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it is. It was very good of them to do that. Because I mean, there's no need for them to do it, especially at the moment. They're desperate for cash, the Ukrainian clubs, because
Yeah, but it was a nice gesture, wasn't it? Isn't it
yeah,
nice to see a club giving something back? They've obviously got, got good money for Mudrick, but for them to do that and to raise awareness as well, that hopefully another couple of clubs might follow and gives aid to not only Ukraine, but maybe give aid to other countries as well, who need money,
or just a
not for
local,
war, but
just a
for
local charity.
refugees. Yeah, absolutely.
Just say, like, you've got every club's got one of these charitable foundations. Every time they get a big move that's over, say, 10 million, why can't they put a percentage of it into the kitty for the charity to use?
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't
Mm.
it? Wouldn't it give us a better outlook for people to see that they are doing something with the massive amounts of money they're getting to
Yeah.
give something back. It really is heartwarming what they've done there.
I mean, part of the
So
deal,
I'm made up with that.
and part of the deal includes a friendly between the two sides of the Donbass arena in Ukraine. But I just wonder, will the Chelsea players have a choice whether to go or not? Because you can just imagine if you said to your missus, "Oh, by the way, love, sorry, I'm just off to the Ukraine to play a footy
The
match."
Donbass, yeah.
Yeah, your missus would turn around and say, "You fucking not."
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's the
might be in
middle
a
of
plain one, I think.
yeah, they're in the middle of a war. There's no way I'm letting you go there. You know what I mean? So you don't.
Absolutely.
You think a few of them might not be able to make that.
Yeah, yeah. But it was nice to hear that. That was a bit of uplifting news out of what's been a bad week.
So who else then? Another to stick with the relegation battlers. Then Leeds paid a club record
Yeah,
transfer fee. It could go up to 36 million with add-ons for Rutter from Hoffenheim, Jorginho Rutter.
yeah. I've never really seen this guy, but it's a massive amount of money, isn't it, for a club like Leeds?
Yeah, and his stats aren't impressive. He hasn't got a lot of goals under his belt or anything.
Have you
But
seen much of interest?
nah, he's only a youngster. He's not, it's not someone you really get a chance to watch, to be honest. But highly rated again, and at that age they don't tend, the scoring rate tends to improve later in their career. It takes them a while to get going. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't be too worried. If he's as good as that Gononto or whatever he's called that they've already signed, who's been very impressive so far, hasn't he? I don't know if
yeah,
you've
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So it could be a big boost. They need strikers. They've been needing them for years, but now they've got Bamford
yeah,
back
yeah,
fit.
yeah.
Rodrigo started scoring, and now they've signed another one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not so. The first time it's actually not so desperate. They actually go and sign one. It's bizarre. They could have done with signing a couple of
Yeah.
years ago, but yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder who's pulling the strings there now. I'm
Yeah, it
thinking
does, yeah.
maybe the 49ers are having more of a say in it. Things, I think so.
Yeah, I certainly don't think it's Jesse Marsh.
No, that's true. Sticking with the relegation battlers, West Ham. They rejected a bid from Wolves for Craig Dawson. They're looking to sign
Yeah.
Danny Ings. I think Ings would be a good signing for West Ham if they get rid of Moyes. Anyway, I'm not so sure it'd
Moyes.
be any good with
Yeah.
Moyes in charge because he's never going to get a forward pass to chance.
I know, but like most teams down there, it's a goal scorer. And Danny Ings, bar for his injury record, is a top quality striker. You
Oh,
know,
it's
I
fantastic.
looked him at Liverpool. He was absolutely amazing, bar for his injury record, which isn't great, you've got to be honest. But as a goal scorer, he's always there or thereabouts, isn't he? He scores
Oh,
goals.
yeah, I love things. He works his ass off. He's always there chasing, harrying. He's pressing from the front.
Yeah,
He's a fabulous player. He really is. It's such a shame about his injuries because he could have been something special. Him.
yeah, he was really good. He went to the England camp once. He was England centre forward before Harry Kane, I think, and it never worked out for him because of injuries. But he's the type who you'd really want on your side, isn't he? Especially if you're fighting down
Oh
there.
yeah,
And I think that'd be a great signing for West Ham
yeah.
because
I
they
think
definitely need a striker.
I think they need a new manager more, to be honest.
Yeah, possibly, very possibly.
Yeah. And finally, the relegation battle is Leicester City signed Victor Christiansen today from FC Copenhagen. I've got to say, I don't really know anything about him, to be honest.
No,
Not,
I don't trust no.
can't say I watch a lot of Danish football, or in fact any at all. I can't think I've ever even watched a Danish game, to be honest. So,
No.
in my
There's
entire
been a
life.
good
So,
player come out of Denmark,
yeah.
but there's not many of them, must admit.
Yeah, so you have to see how he gets on. He can't be any worse than some of the players they've got there at the moment, the way they're playing. They're awful, so they really need the help. Um,
Yeah.
so the out of the relegation battle, we got Aston Villa have agreed a deal with Chicago Fire to sign a teenage forward in John Duran, which is seemingly why they're so ready to let Ings go, which seems a bit odd. I mean, they hadn't even agreed terms with the player or anything yet. They hadn't even spoken to him, they were saying, when they
All
released the
right.
information that they'd agreed a deal with Chicago Fire. You just think, if he's that good, what's to stop somebody else
Yeah.
jumping in and signing him while you know what I mean?
Yeah, if he's that good, yeah, absolutely.
It's a really odd one. I've never heard anyone announcing a deal's agreed with the club before before they've even spoken to the player and that. Normally you wait, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, very odd one. I don't even know if he's any good. He's only a kid though, so
Oh, just have to see on that one, won't we?
yeah. And then there's obviously the surprise one, the Wout Weghorst getting his loan spell at
Yeah.
Besiktas ended early so that he can join Man United on loan for the rest of the season. Right there,
Yeah.
Man United are paying a loan fee which is over £2.5 million, and
Yeah.
Besiktas are receiving the 2.5 million of it as a compensation for ending the loan spell early. So Burnley aren't really.
Right.
I don't understand what Burnley are getting out of the deal. To be honest, it seems very strange.
No, I don't. Unless something's been agreed that when they do, if they do want him, he's only on loan at the moment, but if they do want it, there might be a nice check in the post for Burnley to build. I don't know.
You can only think they don't want. Well, they definitely don't want him either way.
Yeah.
Company has obviously decided he doesn't want him even if they get promoted, which they look like doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just seems.
It's a strange one, though. It's not one I thought United would go for. They usually go for tried and tested people. But Weghorst, it doesn't fit for me, but
I
You
don't
get
know.
that to see, I've not
Well,
one.
he must know him from the Dutch league because he used,
Yeah,
obviously, and he looked at times. He looked really good at Burnley, but obviously they were such a mess. He just wasn't getting any service at all. So it's hard to
no,
know whether he was actually any good. But he does look to have a good touch in that. Like, looks a decent enough player. Whether he's good enough to sustain, help sustain a title challenge, which they should be in for, really, should be.
yeah,
They're, I know it's early days in the Ten Hag reign, but they've got themselves into a good position. Season's just
yeah,
about
they
half.
have been impressed with Ten Hag. I have been impressed with Ten Hag.
Yeah, season's only
What he's
halfway
done there.
through. They've got plenty of
Yeah,
time to claw back on Arsenal. Man City are out and not having the best of season. It's a good chance for them to win a title, really.
yeah,
So,
yeah, very much so.
yeah, no, I don't know whether Weghorst is good enough to score the goals for them. It's only time will tell. I don't mean like whether he's good enough as a player. I think technically in that he's good enough. What I mean is at goal scoring. He doesn't
Yeah,
seem like
yeah.
like a really prolific goal scorer to me. Um,
No, no. No, I'd say for me, it didn't seem the right fit. I expected Man United to go for someone with a bit more of a track record, like they usually do, pick up the big players. But if
oh,
that's the way Ten Hag's going, I've got faith in him for Man United. I'm sure the supporters have. That he's the right man for that time.
Wolves. I think Wolves have just confirmed they've signed Cunha on a permanent deal. Rather, he was on loan. One they signed on loan
All
earlier.
right,
I think they've just converted it to a permanent deal. Apparently, so I can't.
all right.
It's not confirmed. I haven't confirmed that yet, but that's what I've just heard. So, yeah,
Okay, mate.
and then there's Leandro Trossard. I don't know if you know about that one.
Yeah, I like him, to be honest with you. He's another good forward. I thought he was great for Brighton, but he fell out with the manager and the new manager, and he hasn't been used much. And I think he scores goals, doesn't he? You say that about Trossard.
The odd thing with him is you watch him and he'll either be fantastic and then completely fluff every chance that comes his way, or he'll have a stinking game and he'll score 2 or 3 goals, and they'll be all brilliant
Yeah,
goals as well from like
he was.
30, 40 yards. But he's not consistent, and he does look a bit. I mean, he's a good player, yes, but I don't know why he's a bit headless chicken at times and stuff. And like I said, he's very inconsistent. You never know what you're going to get out of him.
I haven't heard the sort of fee they're talking about for him to go to
25
Arsenal.
to 30 million or something they're looking for.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I was
that's
going to
not
say
a bad price for him, I don't think.
it's an odd situation though. I mean, I don't know whether it's like the manager's saying he'd spoken to him and he'd said because he left training early, right, without permission. This is the thing before
Yeah,
the Liverpool game, and he got dropped from the Brighton squad altogether.
yeah,
Now, the manager says he left early, got in trouble, and he said he spoke to him, said that's not good enough. I'm going to have to drop you from the squad. You need to be punished for it. So you're out the squad. But the player's agent has come out and said that A, he didn't speak to him, B, he didn't just leave training early without permission. He'd reported the calf problem, which is he's been having calf issues this season.
yeah.
And it was just he'd just fallen out with the manager, and the manager hasn't spoken to him for months. He was basically saying so.
All right.
It just seems like they just want to get him out. But that's what the agent's saying, but whether that's the agent just saying that because he wants to get him a move, because he is like 28, I think he is. So this
Yeah,
is the
something
last
like
chance
that.
to get a big money move, isn't it, for the lad?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's hard to know who's telling the truth, but it does seem like he just wants to go.
yeah.
It's just a case of getting out of there as fast as he can, really, which is a shame because I think I don't know why he'd want to leave Brighton. They're in a good position, and
Aren't they just?
it depends. And if he ends up as somewhere like Arsenal, can you see him being first choice?
I don't know. I think Arsenal have got much up front besides Trossard if they get Trossard. I think they desperately need the
Saka,
striker, and that's why they went for
Martinelli.
Mudryk.
But he's not a striker,
Yeah,
is he? He's a winger who play, or
yeah,
attacking midfielder, really.
but he's supposed to be a goal scorer. That's what they need, goal scorers. But I think it'd be a good move for him. I think Arsenal would be a really good move for him. How good it is for Arsenal, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I can see why you'd want to go, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just wonder. Yeah, I mean it might work out brilliantly for him, but like I said, I just see that there's a lot of players there, and I can't see that. I suppose I mean, they do need strength and depth. Don't get me wrong; they need to increase, get squad depth. But I just don't know why he'd want to move to be squad depth rather than first choice, and I can't see him being. I don't think he's good enough to be automatic first choice for them, personally.
Yeah. To be fair to Brighton, they went to Goodison, beat Everton 4-1. I know that's not hard at the moment. So
Liverpool, I'd say they were disappointed with that, with the 4-1 after they beat Liverpool 3-0.
Yeah.
To concede one to Everton, that must be kind of embarrassing at the moment. That's the kind of thing that you'd have the players in for extra training. What do you mean you conceded one against Everton? Right, that's it. Punishment detail.
Yeah.
You'll make them run a few extra laps of the pitch for that one. I tell you, I would. That'd be I'd be hiding for weeks after that if I was De Zerbi. But yeah, they do. They are.
They look an outfit. Yeah, they look an outfit, Brighton. Very much so.
Question is De Zerbi is De Zerbi able to keep it going, or is he just still holding on to the Potter effect?
Yeah, it's really changed around, hasn't it? Because I didn't think he'd do much for Brighton, to be honest with you. I know he took over a really decent squad, and Potter seems to have gone the other way with Chelsea, even to the point that people have been calling for his head, which is absolutely ridiculous. But Potter seems to have gone down in the estimation, and this new fella come up for Brighton, and they do look aside. They do look as though they're going to get European football, or be it Europa. But good luck to them. They play some very attractive football. And as you say, Potter put a side together there, a real squad together.
And I'm sure he will at Chelsea as well if he's given time.
I think so.
When he was at Brighton, he first come in, he took over the Chris Hughton side that was playing terrible football but scraping just enough results to survive each season. Yeah. That was all he was doing, just defensive and all that. And he came in and he made them play good football from the start, but the results were not much, were not even better than Hughton's, and they were struggling early, the first season or so. They weren't good.
Yeah.
So I think people need to look at that and remember that he needs time, Potter. He's not a manager as such. He's a coach. He coaches mentally, physically, technically, and he improves the players and brings them together as a unit. But it's time. It's all about time. It's not something he does overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think he'll come good. They'll be fine if they stick with him. But
they said Rome wasn't built in a day, but that's because Chelsea supporters weren't on the job. Otherwise, it might have been.
Wow, they'd have got Roman Abramovich to pay for it. That's the thing. They're so spoilt from having Roman Abramovich's billions, to just bankroll whatever they need. They forget that now that they haven't got that thing. They've got other teams. Have got even more. You can't do that anymore. You have to do it properly, you know what I mean, and build.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd use their youth system better, and I think Potter will do that instead of everyone going out on loan and never appearing. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we move on, because that isn't even related to what we were supposed to be talking about.
Okay, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that wasn't even in the list. Yeah. Should we move on to the guy who kicked Aaron Ramsdale from behind after the North London derby. He's been charged
Yeah,
with assaulting him.
disgraceful. Yeah,
And throwing a missile onto the football playing area and something else as well. I think it was going onto the pitch or something like that as well. Fucking idiot. I mean,
yeah.
it's just brilliant that his name's Joseph Watts, which means his surname's an anagram of twats. I mean, you know, it's suited.
How suited is that? Yeah.
I mean, it just sums him up, really.
It does, yeah. You can do without dickheads like that. Every club's got them, but you don't want to see it, do you? You don't want to see that on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, hey,
I'm
sure he'll be banned from Tottenham for a long time, if not for good.
Should be for good, shouldn't it? Should be for good.
I mean, you can't really let him. I mean, it's not like it was a. I mean, they've quite clearly they've with him throwing a missile as well and that. It's not like just a moment of madness. He's run on and thrown a kick at him and then run off again. Thought, shit, what have I done? He hasn't done that. He's thrown something. He's then run on and taken a kick at him. And then you see him, he's, you know, in the footage, he's hiding his face and that, so he knows what he's done. He's realised, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like he's just an idiot who's done it. He's 35 years old as well. He's not a kid. Knob.
No.
Knob.
Yeah, absolutely, sis. Without that.
I know Ramsdale winds people up and has a bit of banter with the fans, but it's banter, come on, I mean, you know, it's supposed to be, that's half the fun of the game is having banter with opponents.
Absolutely it is, yeah.
If you can't take
of course
it,
it is.
Don't
go.
Yeah. Sadder. Anyway, yes, we move on to next one. The Premier League decided they don't want to trial temporary concussion substitutions. They're sticking with the permanent substitution, which clearly don't work because the amount of times we've heard the players still carrying on playing with concussion, it's ridiculous.
It is, yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Someone's going to be hit real bad, and you know, it's just not the done thing, is it? It really is wrong.
Tis a ridiculous situation. I mean, why? How is it? I don't even understand why there was a problem with it. I don't, you know, just get them off the pitch immediately, have a look at them, and make sure that they're okay. I mean, it takes sometimes 10-15 minutes, you know, 10-15 minutes before you can be sure they haven't got concussion. What's happened now is that the game's just being stopped for 5 minutes, having a look at him and going, yeah, well, he seems okay, you know what I mean? But you can't tell that quickly, you know. Give them plenty of time to work because they're being put under pressure as well from the managers. If they can just throw on a sub straight away, and if he's all right, you know, it's just for 5 minutes while they have a look and then say, no, actually he's fine. They can throw him back. They can put him back on.
Player welfare's got to be higher on the agenda than that, surely, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It really has.
And if they can throw him on and then take him off again, you know, if he needs. Just make everything easier, you know. There's less pressure on the medical staff and you know, and the manager can just make the substitution, knowing that if he is actually okay, he can bring him back. You know, he can bring in the first choice player anyway. So yeah, it's win-win for everyone.
You've got to give them time. Yeah, you've got to give them time, haven't you, and assess them properly before you know, and then if they're okay, yeah, you can go back on. But it has got to be a time period where, you know, you've got to check and do all the medical checks to make sure the guy's not injured really badly.
Yeah, they don't. But nobody seems to care about player welfare. I mean, it's the old joke. You know, the player he's banged his head, doesn't know who he is. We'll tell him he's Pele and send him back out there. You know what I mean? How many times was that said by managers in the past? Because they don't care about the players' welfare. They should be saying, guys, get him off, let's get him seen to. But they don't, because they're interested in winning matches, sadly. Anyway, so we move on to the Man United takeover. Ineos have joined have announced they're involved in the bidding. Formally entered the bidding according to them. Well, I just don't understand why they've announced it. I mean, what's the need?
Do you think it was Jim Radcliffe that announced it rather than the club?
Ineos. His company. Ineos is the chemical company that he owns. They already own Lausanne in Switzerland and Nice in France. Things like they've got a cycling team, America's Cup, the yachting. He's
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it. He's paying for a bid in that as well. Ineos, sorry, is paying for it. Not Jim. This is the thing. You got to remember. It's not about It's not Ratcliffe who's paying for anything. It's the company. It's on the company that will be
yeah,
buying it, not Jim Ratcliffe, because like obviously. Then he's got protection in legal issues and all that. Like if he uses the company to
yeah,
do it all. But the thing is, it just feels like the fact that they've come out and announced it just feels like they're trying to get publicity. The same as when they did the Chelsea bid last minute, like after everybody,
yeah,
after it had already closed, and they knew it had closed. The bidding had closed. So why come out and announce they were entering the race
yeah.
now
I
after it's
think
all
he's got a
finished?
bit of an agenda, Ratcliffe, for Daly.
Yeah. I mean, why announce it? I mean, it just feels like it's just a publicity stunt.
Yeah,
He
I
always
can see
reminds
why
me
you're
of
saying that.
that Branson fella. It's more about the publicity. He just wants to be a star,
Yeah,
celebrity rather than rich. If you see what I mean, a lot.
yeah,
He's got so much money, he just wants to be a celebrity now. And everything he does is
yeah,
about getting himself in the media. I think it feels like anyway. So I
yeah,
just don't
very
see
much
what
so,
good
sir.
it does by mentioning that you're involved. Seems an
No.
odd one. So, should we move on to next? I think we need to talk about the Barcelona board and
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
Lionel Messi thing.
That,
Well, I mean,
that was amazing.
I mean, like, I've said similar things about Messi, about being a money grubber and stuff. So it's quite interesting to read right there. For those who don't know this story, this WhatsApp group between board members, the previous board of Barcelona, and some text messages have now been, WhatsApp messages are now being leaked from the 31st of January 2021. This is when they were trying to organise a new contract for Messi, I believe, at the time or something. Was that? I can't remember. Anyway,
Yeah,
the text messages have been leaked, and it's the club's legal department head of it, Roman Gomez Ponte, who's sent a message which read to then club president Josep Bartomeu, and it said about don't not to be such a good person with this sewer rat. Talking about Messi, by the way. The club has given him everything, and he has dedicated himself to being a dictator in terms of signings, transfers, renewals, sponsors just for him, etc. All things I've said about before. So it's quite interesting that he's come out and said it. He said, and then he went on to say, I could never do it. We should add to the cost of his contract the cost of Pinto, the renewal of Suarez, and that of Jordi Alba, or the renewal commission for Fati, because Rodrigo Messi's his agent. And he said, he also put in brackets, Rodrigo Messi agent. He doesn't even know how to read, and he's partner to a drug dealer. Which obviously they're allegations that nobody knows whether that's true or not. That we know
no.
of anyway. And above all, the blackmail and rudeness that the club and those of us who work for it have suffered from this hormonal dwarf who owes Barca his life. But when things go
Yeah,
wrong, pandemic, you receive the mythical WhatsApp. President, lower the salaries of others, but don't touch Lewis and me. Hopefully when he leaves, people
yeah,
will be indifferent, which is the worst thing that could happen to him. One more money grubber. And Barca's CEO at the time, Oscar Grew, actually replied to the message saying yes, which suggests he agrees with it completely with what's said. And Bartomeu just
yeah,
says he agrees on many things, but the priority is Barca, and this could damage the club's image. And he said,
yeah.
but the Ponte also went on to say Gerard Piqué lacked scruples and was a huge son of a bitch, and Sergio Busquets should be fired and forgotten about. So he obviously didn't like many of the players.
No, no. You sure you never wrote that to us? Over parts of the WhatsApp group? Because you've been saying about it for years.
Well, I mean, I thought it was like, no, this is what Messi has dictated his. That's why he ended up with £1 million a week. Oh, you don't get £1 million a week unless you're an arsehole. Let's be honest, because like if you go into a negotiation and you ask for £1 million a week, any club in the world, doesn't matter who you are, they're going to turn around and say, "Fuck off. So we can't afford that."
Yeah,
But he basically held them to ransom, which is what this guy's
yeah.
saying. But I just thought it really, I thought it was hilarious
It's
because
reinforcing everything I thought about him anyway.
yeah, I mean it's quite shocking though, really, because he's actually said it.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, why would you say? I mean, and I understand he's telling them not to renew the contract, which obviously they couldn't afford to do in the end.
No.
And like we said, I mean, why couldn't he take us? He could have taken as big a contract cut as he wanted. He could afford it. He'd been on £1 million a week.
Yeah. He doesn't need the money, does he? Let's be honest about it.
Oh, but he still chose to go where the money was because he went to PSG. He could have gone. He could have turned around, said to his agent. I don't know who his. I can't remember who his agent is off the top of my head. He could have turned. Oh, sorry.
Stop deeps.
Oh, that made me jump. Oh, this is Seamus. I didn't think you'd be.
I've been texting you to bring me in. Hello, everyone.
Oh, sorry, mate. I didn't notice it. Sorry.
No, you were just caught. No, you were just caught up because Billy is waxing lyricals about you now. Because Billy believes. No, because Billy believes those
nice
texts. Yeah, no, those WhatsApps are true, but I doubt it because I've never seen it reported anywhere else. I think it's just you spreading the news about Messi.
No, it's honestly it's all over the. It was in
I know.
Spanish media. All in the Spanish media, and what I'm surprised at is not being picked up more widely. I've got to be honest, because they've got the text. I don't understand why it's not gone. Well, but then it's Messi, and you're not allowed to say bad things about Messi, are you? Because it always gets ignored. Nobody seems to want to say anything bad about him, do they? I don't understand.
Mighty Messi.
He's got that. He must have the best PR firm in the world ever. Because people think he's some kind of god. Yeah. And he's a money grubber. Because I know it now, because Ponty said so. So, it's true. Hormonal dwarf. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mention those things too. Most of the people, they come at you. Like I've shared my experiences with you, Tris.
What, you've said worse about me?
No, you can say those things, say much worse things to people, they won't react, but don't say those things about Messi.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't say anything. People seem to jump to his defence. I wonder if it's because he's so small and that, and people think it's like, like feel sorry for him because he's little. Oh, little Messi.
He's not little, Chris. If Messi comes here, then he would to Nepal. He would be like much more taller than the average people.
Well, yeah,
he would be like a tall guy.
Yeah, he'd be quite tall here as well. To be fair, but yeah, I just thought about it in in European terms. He's short. We just finished talking about you. I don't know if you wanted to go back and discuss the Ineos.
Ineos cycling. Yeah, Ineos cycling team. Let's discuss about that.
No, I just wondered if you had any insight to add on the bid for Man United from them. Is it a genuine bid, or is this just a publicity stunt, or is it a bit of both? Is it a genuine bid and publicity stunt?
I guess there must be a bit of both, because he's come out, expressed some sort of interest from long while ago, but only time will tell whether he's actually serious or just a sort of media hound, just looking for attention.
I was going to say, he's not done very well with Lausanne or Nice, has he? They've not been particularly good under him so far. But whether that's a short-term thing.
Well, Nice employ your Aaron Ramseys and Ross Barkleys of the world, so you have to be wary.
Yeah, they do tend to just take chances on players, don't they?
But then again, Nice are just
They're a,
They're,
I don't want to. I don't know how to phrase it, but
A
they're the
rabble.
Everton. No, they're the Everton of French League One.
no, I think Everton are a bigger club in terms of comparison.
Oh,
Nice are
hey,
quite a
Nice.
small club. They're
No, I think like they're actually the Aston Villa of what's this?
do
Like
you think?
French League One. Like have won a few things in the distant past, but not never really been the top dogs.
Didn't they win the league just a few? No, that was Lille, wasn't it?
No, that's Leo.
Yeah. No, they tend to take chances on players. That's how they work. Rather than they don't go with youth and that. They tend to take chances on players that have had bad records and need redemption. They got Balotelli up and running again, didn't they? And things like that before he sunk again without trace once he left them. So yeah, I don't know
Like
how they.
Favre. No, that was like Favre and Gaultier's work. Come on.
Gaultier. I mean, that's how he ended up at PSG because of the work he
Shit.
did with them. So
No, not just him. Also Leo and also Sante.
yeah, but I mean, it's the work he did. It's rather than sorry, I'm trying to think how to explain what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, he impressed with the way he deals with egos at Nice is what I was trying to say. Is what made them because the redeeming the troubled players. That was what made him wanted by PSG particularly, rather than his results, if you see what I mean.
More to do with Luis Campos and him having worked wonders with Leo.
Hmm.
Just lest you forget, Bielsa had Lille nearly relegated before Gaultier took over.
Yeah, but he had to when he came in, he had to completely redo everything from the training ground to he had it rebuilt. Remember, he had it torn down and rebuilt and everything because they were just a mess. So it's hard to I wouldn't really. I don't know if you can judge what happened at Bielsa. When Bielsa was in charge, to be honest, at all.
Yeah.
Oh. It's one of those where it's the difficult one. He took over at the wrong time. If he'd have taken over after himself, he might have done well as well.
But
See, that's
to
what he's
give him
good at.
some credit for winning.
No, I mean
Come on.
that's what he's
He
good at
won
though,
the league.
Bielsa. He sets them up to
Yeah, but
to improve
Gaultier
them,
won the
gets them
league.
up and
Come
running.
on.
Yeah. Oh no, Guilty is brilliant.
Give him
I've said
some
that.
credit as well, baby.
No. I'm saying I think Guilty is brilliant. What I'm saying is Bielsa's he does very well is he sets a club up for the future. He builds a good solid foundation. He sets up the training ground. He sets the infrastructure. He and the coaching and all that. He improves players ready for the next man to go and just take it on another level, and that's what's happened there. No, I really like Gaultier. I think he's a brilliant
Yeah,
choice for
unless,
PSG as
unless
well.
the next man is Jesse Marsh.
Yeah,
Then you're fucked.
well, yeah, but that's because he's just so bad. I mean, he makes Ted Lasso look like he's got a clue. Let's be honest. I mean, do you see some of the comments he makes, and you just think, what? He really is Ted Lasso. Lasso. Yeah,
That's,
yeah, he is him. It is. I see they got a new season of that due to come out soon. Those of you that
I
watch
don't
it.
watch it.
What? You haven't seen it? Oh, what's it,
no,
Bill?
I've
No,
watched.
no.
No, I've watched the previous two seasons.
Oh, it's really good. Very, very good, I thought. I liked it anyway. Yes, we move on anyway.
I was gonna say, I guess it's time to move on.
Yeah, can't think of anything. We're getting distracted, so we'll move on to this. I mean, I just read this a minute ago. Update. Court papers being filed regarding the Emiliano Sala incident from insurance companies, and they say that Cardiff City tried to insure Emiliano Sala for £20 million the day after his death because they didn't have him
That sounds
insured.
amazing, doesn't it?
It's no
It doesn't
surprise though
surprise
at
me, but it
Cardiff.
is amazing.
Yeah. The way they've acted in this whole thing has been such a disgraceful, embarrassing way.
It's scandalous. Yeah.
You could believe anything of them right now, couldn't you? I mean, Victor Tan, he looks like a Bond villain anyway, so you can just imagine him acting like one as well.
That is beyond the pale, though, isn't it? What they do,
Yeah.
it comes out as true, like. But what the way they acted anyway over it, I've got no sympathy for them. For
Yeah,
Cardiff,
refusing to pay and that. It's just.
Yeah.
You've got to pay.
Yeah, it's just not the done thing, is it?
No, they're out of order. They've been a disgrace. But I mean, you look at him, and you just say to yourself, he looks like a Bond villain. He does, doesn't he? I mean, if you've ever seen a more Bond villain-like guy, Tim, gotta be.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone that looks more like. He should be in a Bond film. He really should. Even when he puts the Cardiff shirt on, and the way he wears it, it's just like, it just looks like just looks wrong. Anyway, so I think you're in the right time then, Seamus, because you're in for the biggie now, the big finale.
What big finale?
Yeah.
The important stuff now we're going to talk about.
The Everton stuff.
Well, there wasn't anything else important. Obviously, the Liverpool have gone and won, so that's ruined the moaning about Liverpool section.
only temporary, that's just. Only temporary.
Oh, God, I hope not. I don't think I can cope with much more of the whining in the sights whenever Liverpool don't win. It's so depressing.
Yeah. Get rid of Klopp. Get rid of Klopp. Get rid of FSG.
I actually saw some of the stuff. I mean, everything FSG is at the root of everything, according to some people. You're thinking, oh, come on, they had nothing to do with half the things they're blamed for. It's like, I mean, at least somebody started to notice about Martin Edwards. Now, I said when he went, I don't understand why people are bothered. I don't think he did a good job at Liverpool. The accounts have just come out, and obviously Liverpool are up there, right up there as one of the biggest. Got one of the biggest revenues. Obviously, huge revenue. Went above Man United for the first time in the recorded, since Deloitte started doing this money league thing. And people are like shocked that Liverpool got no money, but they're forgetting the wages they're paying out. And it's all down. That was down to Edwards. He put so many players on so much money. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why people rate him. I'm sorry. I think he did a poor job. We got stuck with players like Wijnaldum. We couldn't sell them on because nobody's going to pay their wages. Everyone just looked at it and went, yeah, right. And Sturridge and players like that, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's still there. Not because we didn't want to offload him, but because nobody will pay him. Anything like what they're earning. So.
Yeah.
Situation.
Sorry, I'm gonna forget. We were talking about it. We're gonna talk about Everton. Sorry, I apologise. This is supposed to be about Everton, and I've got on a rant about Liverpool. Apologies. Let's just move on. Everton. I think Billy, you should start with this. You should set the scene in that, mate, because it's your club.
Well, let me set the scene here and first discuss the elephant in the room, which is the apparent headlock on Denise Barrett-Baxendale by a supporter, which caused uproar, and the board at Everton and chairman, the owner, all decided not to attend the game against Southampton on Saturday. Let me put you right. It's fake news. It never actually happened. And this is from a source at the club, who I'm not going to name at this point. What actually happened was an elderly man put his arm around Denise Barrett-Baxendale and asked would she buy another 4 players for the club. And he had a little smile about it, and that was all that happened. The man walked away. There was no headlock. There was no confrontation. And it's just fake news. And it was all brought about by the board not wanting there to be a stance by the fans to sit in and call for the board's head. And it's really put the fans in a very awkward situation. They're now deemed as the worst football fans in the country. Ian Wright has come out and apologised now for what he said about Everton fans on Match of the Day, when he said that had happened. He now knows that was not the case, and has apologised to Everton fans and Everton fan groups. And this was, as it turns out, it's been the board who were looking that they didn't want a protest by the majority of the supporters, which there was going to be, to sit in and call for the heads of the whole board. And as far as I know, and from a good source, by the way, within the club, that never happened. And it's an absolute disgrace that Everton fans are getting brought through the mud. I'm not saying we're the greatest fans, but everyone has their own share. You seen what happened with players getting confronted. No violence, though. No threats. No violence. Just asking what was happening at the club and why they don't seem to be given 100% on the pitch, which every fan will accuse players of doing when a club's in the situation that Everton.
Well, you saw Mina getting having a nice chat with him, and there was no issue. But
no, there was no.
Just to go back to what you said about the headlock, I'd just like to say, just after it happened, I text my auntie making it, because she worked at Everton most of her life, so she's still obviously still in touch with a lot of people at the club who work there, stewards, things like that, And I spoke to her about it and just made a joke about it, and the first thing she sent back was just this meme that, of all the things that didn't happen, this is the one that most didn't happen, And then she said a few more things since then, but basically, just to back that up, regardless of whether they're right or wrong, the first thing you'd have to say is, if she'd been put in a headlock, the police would have been immediately informed, and there would have been police
Absolutely.
Involved. Why weren't the police involved? The stewards were there.
They said there's been death threats as well.
Yeah, well, again,
threats,
why weren't the police involved?
The police have denied any contact was made by the club about any incidents. And going back to what happened to Denise Barrett-Baxendale about the lad putting his arm around him, an elderly gentleman it was, by the way.
Was it you?
No.
Not that old.
He's older than me.
Jesus Christ, how old was he?
But I'm not saying you should put your hands on anyone. But what are you saying, Deep? Sorry.
Billy has never been accused of being a gentleman.
That's a good point,
never
to be fair. That's a good point.
And now, I'm not saying you should put your hands on anyone, but it wasn't what was made out in the press, that it was a headlocker. He put his arm round Denise Barrett-Baxendale, by all accounts, and this is from someone within the club, put his arm around her shoulder and said, "Can you get us 4 more players?" And they laughed about it, she laughed about it, and walked up on the way. There was no violence or anything else. And it's an absolute disgrace that the board had to make up these sorts of stories to stop there being a protest about the job that they're doing, which is absolutely awful.
Well, the whole thing's been a bit they've been a bit comic from the start with the way the Mashiri going on the radio, doing interviews that nobody knew anything about until he's suddenly on the radio.
I know. He's been the worst thing to happen to Everton Football Club. And we were all thinking, as you do, we're finally going to have money to spend and we're going to be up there with the big boys. That was the promise to come out the club. Even Bill Kenwright said, "I'm waiting for the right man to come." a man who's going to look after Everton Football Club and has got money to spend. And as it turns out, the money's been spent in a very, very bad way. And the whole club is, and I shouldn't use this language to support, but it's a shit show at the moment. And the fans are not happy, and the players don't look happy. And what's happening on the field is obviously part of that. And it goes hand in hand. And, you know, I've said before, I thought Frank should have went at the World Cup because it wasn't working. Give the man 4 weeks, 5 weeks to get a new player. Never happened. So they showed faith in Frank, and misguided, in my opinion, and it is only my opinion, misguided. But he's in an untenable position now. If we lose against West Ham the weekend, which wouldn't surprise me, I think Frank will have to go. But even if we get a result, it mightn't be enough, and Everton are in a terrible position and a very precarious position at the moment. And the whole club is an absolute mess at the moment.
I'd say it's a shame, but I don't want to lie. No, honestly, I'd be gutted if they went down. After initially, it'd be great. I'd take the piss out of you mercilessly for about 2 days, and then I'd feel too sorry for you. So then I'd have to turn to me cousins and that. But I mean, even them, I don't think to be honest, I can't, because my Auntie Anne's one of my favourite people in the world. I've always been really close to her, and like I said, she worked for Everton pretty much all her working life, and she's a massive Everton fan, and I'd be absolutely gutted if they went down for her. So I'd be too gutted to enjoy it even. So I'm hoping you sort it out, which is a shame, because it's just not. It's nice to beat you as well. I'd hate the games. You know what I mean?
Which happens most times.
But the derby, I mean, without it, the season would be missing something huge for me.
Yeah, well, it's looking at, if we do go down, the ground is going to be compromised as well, because although there are investors who are willing to come in, it's going to affect the ground as well, which we're hoping, new ground, money, everything was looking rosy, and it just hasn't worked out that way. But Mashiri has brought all this on himself. Listening to people like Kai Jarabchin, who's getting players for him, he was his advisor, getting players in on what you said about Liverpool before, on big money, big wages, people like Mina, 120,000 a week. Who's going to take him off his hands and play that? They're all going to run the contract out. He's not the only one who's on big money. Loads of Everton players are on big money. And what happens then? You can't get rid of them. And you can't get the money because of the FFP to bring new players in because you've spent so much. And there doesn't look any way out of Everton for Everton at the moment.
So do you think you're going down this season?
I think so. I really do. And I said last year we had a chance of going down. We survived. And I was a bit, I jumped the gun a bit to say we'd go down because I thought we wouldn't last year. We got ourselves out of it. But I can't see us getting out of this. You've seen the other teams buying, the other teams around us. We've been beaten by the teams around us. Bournemouth, twice in a week, 3-1. Teams like Southampton coming to Goodison and beating us when we had to win. We had to win on Saturday. And we got beat 2-1. And the whole place is just a mess at the moment. And the players don't look up for it. Now, whether that's down to Frank Lampard it's just conjecture. But what's not happening is the old Everton way of where you fight for everything. You might not have had the best players, but they always give you the game. They always give the good side of the game as well. And people are now saying maybe David Moyes will come in if he gets sacked by United, by West Ham United, and I think that'd be the worst thing ever. I think to go back, he'd be going backwards, and if you can't get West Ham playing, they've got better players than us, the likes of Rice and that. You know, they've got some really good players. If you can't get West Ham firing, what's he going to do for Everton in the situation they're in? I can't see it, and it'd be a nightmare for me if David Moyes come back.
Do you think Lampard can turn it around?
Personally, no. I'd love him to, you know. I'd love him to, but I don't think he's the right man at the right time. I don't think Everton was the right club for him, which I did say at the time. I wanted him to do well. I think he's a good football man. He's a good person. He's a nice person.
Is he?
But I don't think he's the right man for Everton Football Club at this time. He might turn out to be a decent manager in a few years, you know, if he goes back to basics and maybe drops down a couple of divisions. But at this time, he's not the right man for Everton Football Club. I would have personally got rid of him before the World Cup, and I'd let Sean Dyche have 5 weeks with them, getting to know the club, getting to know the players, and go from there and give themselves a fighting chance. It doesn't look as though it's happening.
I've got a question. Seamus, you still there? Because you're very quiet, which is...
Yeah, I am. Come on, you have
Okay.
to let Billy rant about Everton.
No. I just thinking that, because obviously there's Darwin we know Everton a mess. There's no denying it. Frank Lampard's clearly not the man. I think Billy's being very nice about him, saying he's nice and all that. I'm not sure how he knows that, but like, I'm not a big fan of Lampard. I don't rate him as a manager. I think it was never going to work out. I don't understand why he's managed to get a job like Everton he didn't deserve. But my big question is, who could they get to replace him? And you're the one that you're the one that seems to know a lot on the football, the managers. So,
Managerial fronts, yeah.
Yeah, you seem to always have your finger on the pulse of potential managers, up and coming managers.
I would like.
Who could
I
you
had
suggest?
I had to bring up the name of Adi Hutter again.
Oh God.
Oh, you knew what you were getting into when you
Yeah.
asked me.
I know.
Adi Hutter, I think like because from the little I know, he's also quite versatile. Certain managers are set in their own way, and Everton aren't made for a manager who is a bit rigid right now because they don't have a blessed squad. So someone who can work around with what he has got is always going to be worth a shout for Everton right now. Sean Dyche, we've been harping on about Sean Dyche for so long now, but something doesn't seem correct enough for him to be taking over. Because I would have said Bournemouth would have been a good fit for him as well. They didn't show much interest there either.
Now, with Sean Dyche, if I could just talk about Sean Dyche at the moment, the way I see Sean Dyche is he'd be the man who'd get Everton fighting for their lives, which they are at the moment. I think he can instill that into players, and I think he's the type of guy who the football won't be pretty. I'm not saying it will be pretty, but his teams are always hard to beat. Everton at the moment are not hard to beat, and that's why I'm saying Sean Dyche. For want of a better option, really. He's an available manager. I'm presuming he's available. Who could come in and get a bunch of guys working, give them a bit of hope, give them a bit of belief, because they've got no belief at the moment. They've got nothing about them that's given 100%, running the stocks off, and disappointed when they lose. And for me, Sean Dyche is the only one I can personally think of who might do that, who's got the experience to do that. And that's why I put Sean Dyche's name forward. And you don't think he'd be a fit for Everton, Deeps?
I think he would be a good fit for Everton, but I just don't see him getting the fans behind him.
Right.
That's what worries me with him, is that, like, I'm not sure the Everton fans be that, especially with him being he's a Liverpool fan.
Aren't they all? Yeah, but I think if he got off on a good foot at what the way the forums are going, and not just the transfer rumours forum, other forums, people are saying, he'd be a good fit.
Really? Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I think he
people
would be.
Are saying that they need someone like that. They've actually realised that these managers who are coming in and spending money and hand over fist and bringing on players on big wages, and that, everyone can see that hasn't worked for Everton. That's not the Everton way. Everton's always been the little club who punch above the weight, because the players, the Peter Reeds, the Gravesons, and they're the type of people who work hard, give their all, and leave everything out on the pitch. This bunch of players we've got now, honestly, I'm talking about all of them. They don't have the mentality to give 100% every game. And you see them, they don't track back, they're very lacklustre. And Everton fans have never been used to that. We've never embraced that in a player, how good they are. It's how what they are given to wear the shirt. And that's why it's a big thing for Everton supporters, that players give 100%. If you get beat, you get beat. That's okay. It's going to happen. But for players not to look interested or be really disappointed at losing, that's what they can't stand.
Yeah, because one thing you couldn't complain about with Richarlison was he works his ass off. He always trapped back.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, just to say, Arsenal have agreed a deal to sign Trossard now.
Oh, after, yeah.
Yeah, no.
We
did say it looked like it was going to happen, but they've now agreed a deal. So 21 million plus
I'm up with the price.
21 million plus add-ons.
That's not a bad deal for Arsenal, I feel. That's okay for them.
What do you think of him?
I think so, yeah.
What do you think of him, Seamus? Oh, is he gone? Seamus left.
Oh, I'm not gone.
Oh,
no, I'm still here. I think he's good, but I don't see him being much more than a backup option for Arsenal right now.
That's what I said as well.
Yeah, Trish said that. I think he'll be starting. I think he's a good finisher. I think he'll play him.
No, I think his overall game is inconsistent. He can be brilliant one moment and terrible the other.
Yeah, you've been listening to Chris too much. You've almost echoed exactly what Chris said before.
No, that's because we've had this discussion before, Chris and I, when Trossard was linked with Chelsea. Yeah.
How did we? Oh, it shows how much notice I take.
Oh, you must. Oh, come on, buddy. You might remember. You might remember. But Trossard did score a hat trick against you.
Yes, I do.
You guys.
Earlier
in the season, he has had his hot moments at times.
He's one of those. He's got, like I said to Billy earlier, he'll score brilliant goals, but he'll have a stinking game, or he'll have a brilliant game, but absolutely fluff, dirty chances, and they'll be easy chances. See, Billy's saying he's a good finisher. I think he's a terrible finisher. He misses hundreds of chances from 2 yards out, and he'll absolutely sky them or miss kick, miss the ball altogether, whatever. He'll just completely mess him up or just pass him to the goalkeeper, whatever. But then you get him 30 yards out and he'll suddenly hit a screamer just 2 minutes later, and you're thinking you just literally can't tell what you're going to get with him.
Yeah, I'm not saying I know much about Brighton. I see them, but I only see highlights usually unless they're playing Liverpool or Everton.
Was it not so brilliant, Billy? Were Brighton not so brilliant against Liverpool, man? How good were they?
They were very good. I thought they were very good, yeah.
They were even better. They were even better. Like, Brighton were even better than they were earlier in the season against us. So instead of like
against Liverpool.
Roberto De Zerbi has taken them even a level above Graham Potter. Come on, man. That was just that was amazing performance.
Yeah. No, they were excellent. To be fair, they absolutely hammered Liverpool.
No, I'm not joking. If you said like Liverpool are a good team, but like wow, Brighton are like
not that game. No,
I'm saying like. But I'm saying if you say someone who knows nothing about football that Liverpool are a great team that nearly won the whole damn thing last season. yeah. But now this season Brighton are like running away with the league. Watching that game, people would believe you easily. Yeah. If you said like Brighton were like runaway leaders, they were that good. Like it was men against boys at times.
Yeah, they're a good side though, Brighton, aren't they? You know, they're a team who they're good to watch as well. And you know, I've got a lot of respect for Brighton Football Club. You know, to do what they've done to Everton and Liverpool in a fortnight was excellent. They were good against Everton as well, by the way. And they're just a damn good side.
But who isn't good against Everton?
Remember Watford, the worst team in the world. Even they were good against Everton.
Like even James Ward-Prowse looked like one of the best 8 players in the league against Everton.
Yeah.
God. You just may as well give up.
That's not hard, is it? It's
not hard. It happened. Like I don't know which side it was. Maybe Arsenal. But someone did suggest signing Ward-Prowse on the back of that game.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
Did you enjoy the performance? Did you enjoy that deep steer performance against Liverpool?
Oh, like of all the games I could have come back to watch. Like I'm pretty glad that was my first game in a long while.
They were good. They were good.
Bitch. You bitch. You really are.
Now, where do you see Everton says at this point in the season, or in the history, basically? Where do you see them this season finishing? Same for you, Deeps. Where do you see Everton going?
Down. They're going, as Mary J. Blige would say, they're going down.
Yeah, I think they might be going down this year.
Unfortunately, and I think it's the protest against the board, etc. And that once that starts happening, it's you know you're on a downward spiral for a while. Even if they survive this season, unless they sort this out, it's just going to get worse.
A few things have to happen.
Like the same last year.
Yeah. A few things. I think a few things have to happen for Everton, and they have to happen in a certain like way. They need to get a new. I think it's been long overdue. I think it's like already almost verging on the level of being like too late. Like Newcastle did with Benitez, it's almost verging on that territory. But I think Everton need a change of manager now. They can't afford to leave it too late, and they need to get the right manager. I don't know whether that right guy is your Sondage, whether it's Adi Hutter, or let's say like your Domenico Tedesco, whoever it is. There are so many options. Maybe they need someone like Bortles. I don't know. Yeah, that is my point. Like, I think it's almost like too late
Too late.
now.
They should
Yeah.
have done it
It's
during the
it's
World
now or
Cup.
never. Yeah, it's now or never. I guess like if you don't get a new magazine before the end of January window, then I don't see much hope for you guys, sadly. And I also think like Everton need a change of ownership as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you're right.
Usmanov's having a
I think it's
nightmare.
something like
Yeah,
Sorry, I mean
even if
Bashiri's
this
having a
year.
nightmare.
Yeah, I think that was a Freudian slip there by you,
No, no,
Chris.
no. That is just a subtle thing from Chris.
But we all know it's Usmanov who owns him. Just think, Arsenal fans. I just like to point out. Remember, this is the guy that was fighting with Stan Kroenke to buy Arsenal, and he ended up with Everton instead. Obviously through Mashiri, because Mashiri's got no money. He's just his accountant. Yeah, the only money he's got is gifted by Usmanov. So, like, this is what you could have ended up like. Arsenal could have. So, and instead it's Everton. So just be glad.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think what's got to happen with Everton is that maybe they might need to go down. I don't want them to go down. Obviously, no one wants to lose their status as in the Premiership. But would it benefit Everton to go down? Would it build the club up?
I think
don't know.
with
Don't
the
want them to
stadium
go down.
and the wages, I think they'd be in real financial trouble. And because I can't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how is Mashiri going to be allowed to spend any more of Usmanov's money on it? Because Usmanov might not be able to get any more out of the country, can he?
And also, like you have to consider like if as a club you're in a healthy financial position, then you can do a bit of a rejigging, reshuffling, an evolution of the squad when you're in the championship. But with Everton, they're already on the cusp of
Oh
a
yeah,
financial fair play breach. If they go
Yeah,
down,
they are,
then
yeah.
yeah,
it might push your
absolutely
finances
hamstrung.
down for like 2-3 seasons, even if you were to manage to get promoted immediately, which is not a given either.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's certainly not, no.
no, it's
Yeah,
a hard
yeah,
league to get
we've
out of.
seen, with the likes of Nottingham Forest, wh- which took them like
Leeds,
almost 2 decades.
Both of
Yeah.
them
Leeds,
went down to League One before they eventually
yeah,
returned.
yeah, we've also
Yeah.
seen the likes of Aston Villa struggle for 3, 4, 5 seasons before finally getting up.
Yeah,
Manchester City done the same, went down 2 tiers. Sunderland down 2 tiers. Yeah, you know, it happens and it's not easy to get back, is it? It's not easy to get back.
Yeah, you could be the next Newcastle, but you could just as easily be the next Sunderland.
Yeah,
what do you
I actually agree with you.
what do you think
Go
of
on, Chris.
Thelwell's job? What he's done so far?
Do you know what? I thought he started off all right. He
In
seemed
what
to have
way?
the right ideas. That he was going to get players in. He was under the restraints of FFP as well, don't forget. So we were already in financial hardship when he come in.
Yeah.
But he sanctioned a couple of players there who I personally wouldn't have had. But I'm no expert. Like 20 million on Dwight McNeil,
Yeah, exactly.
15 million on Neil Maupay, who just aren't good footballers, to be honest with you. They're not good footballers. And
How much
he's
did you pay for
sanctioned the
James
likes of-
Garner? Sorry to cut you off, Billy.
He's
Garner was
forgotten
something
him
like
because he didn't
8
even
million,
play.
I think.
Yeah,
I
it
think
doesn't
he's
matter.
injured at
Like,
the
I don't
moment.
know whether he's a good player or a bad player because he just never plays. If you're not gonna play him, then why waste that money?
He's been injured, to be fair to him. He's still injured. He's on the way back. He should be all right in the next couple of weeks, apparently, according to the Everton website. He should be back in the next couple of weeks. He started training this week, but he's had a pretty bad injury. And but Garner didn't do much. What I've seen, he hasn't had a chance yet. To be fair to him, you know, he's come on as the sub, but I think that's part of that's Frank. You know, one of his failings. He hasn't given people the right people, who I think anyway, a chance in the squad. We never had a centre forward when Calvert-Lewin was injured, and he sent Ellis Sim, who I'm not the biggest fan of. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of him. But if you haven't got a centre forward and you're playing Neil Maupay every week, and you send out people on loan when you haven't got a proper centre forward, at least give them a chance.
Young Cannon.
And you can't do any worse than Maupay.
That Cannon looks better than Maupay all day long.
Yeah, I think so, Trish. But they're just not given the chance. Whether, he's sticking by his tried and trusted, but his tried and trusted just aren't good enough. And, maybe his hands are tied, because he can't get players in because of the financial situation. But he's not working the best system with Everton either. A lot of people are saying that. What we've got is such negativity within the players in the side that everyone's first move is backwards. We don't cross the ball, even if you get Calvert-Lewin fit. You've got to put crosses into him. You've got to play into his feet or over the top. We don't actually go forward with the ball very much because we've got two fullbacks who are very, very poor in Patterson and Mikalenko. They are poor players offensively. I don't think they're that good defensively, but they're very poor offensively. And we don't move the ball wide enough for them to actually go forward. Whether that's down to Frank or not, I don't know, which it should be. But they don't get forward. They're just defenders, and Everton are so lax in the style of play that they don't threaten teams. When we go one up, if we do go one up, we sit back and encourage other teams onto us. And it's so bad to watch. You just know the inevitability that they're going to come forward and score against you. And it's a given.
What about?
And it's so frustrating. Go on.
What about the other signings? You got Cody on loan.
Yeah, very good signing for me. I've always liked Cody. I liked him even when I've seen him at Liverpool. But I think he's a decent player. He's not a whale beater. But I think him and Tarkowski have formed a good partnership there. And I think they're okay. But they get no protection from the fullbacks because the two fullbacks are very poor, not only offensively, I think they're poor defensively. I think they give the wingers too much time on the ball. They stand very narrow, and the wide man gets the ball and has then got time to see where he's going to either go on the outside and cross or come inside and cross. Whereas if you see players like Robertson for Liverpool, when the winger gets the ball, he's right out to them and closes them down. And all good fullbacks do that. They close the winger down, so they've got no options then. They've got to make their mind up where they're going. Ours have got, people against us have got lots of time to decide what they want to do because they don't press up. There's no press whatsoever from the defence.
You're talking about... But sorry, I thought you'd finished.
Go on,
sorry,
mate.
Carry on. No, sorry.
No, go on. I'm finished.
Oh, you had finished. Sorry, I thought you went on like as if you were about to say something else. Yeah, I was just going to say.
No,
I just remembered another signing like never plays like Garner. You got that Vinagre on loan. What the hell was that all about?
I don't know. I don't know why we wasted a loan if he wasn't going to play him. I don't know much about Vinagre, but he's got to be better than what we've got. No, I'm not saying he was, but why take him if you're not going to use him?
But that's what
because you're losing space then. You're losing a loan space.
And he knew he wasn't he wasn't very well rated there. You know, they didn't like. It wasn't. You know, the managers didn't really like him there. Yet he's then brought him to Everton as well. It just seems a really bizarre. That's why I'm not. I think Dalwell's making a bit of is part of the problem. He's not the main problem.
Yeah.
He's
I'm not saying he's not part of the problem.
You've got
The
so
only
many.
caveat that I'm giving him is that his hands have been tied financially.
Oh yeah,
You know, because of what's happened with previous
but
managers and with Mashiri.
but all the more reason to not make daft decisions like signing Malpay, Dwight McNeil, Ruben Vinagre, and people like that. I was trying to think who else you signed because you signed quite a few players still, despite not having any money.
Yeah,
You still spent a fair bit of money. But if you're
I
if you're
know.
short of money, you don't spend it, do you? You just go you grub about in the bargain basement. But instead, he still went out and spent money. You're thinking that
The
doesn't seem
panic
good
buys, Trish.
work for me.
This is the problem. These are panic
Yeah,
buys.
that's what it
This
feels
is,
like.
we
I
need a
agree.
centre forward. Who's a centre forward that's available? That won't cost the air. Oh, there's a fella there from Brighton, Maupay. Get him in. Nobody wanted Maupay. He's just not a very good player. But he was available and he was cheap. And that's the only thing that they're looking at is cost and players who might, given better circumstances, do okay. And it hasn't worked out. None of the players he brought in have done anything. And, they have no impact on the side whatsoever. And that's been the problem. No one's lifted the side. They're basically no marks.
Mm. Yeah, we certainly haven't. You certainly haven't done well with the transfer policy in recent years, have you? Which I
No,
mean,
Trish, no. But
we,
that's not just here, It's happened for a long time now. We've been paying players top quality money for average players, and that's been the problem. Because we've got these players, as I said before, on our books now, who no one's going to take off our hands. Who's going to come in and pay, the likes of Yerry Mina, 120,000 a week?
Everton.
Nobody. Everton, that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, no,
but
that's what I mean.
You need
another Everton. Isn't there an Everton somewhere else? Anyone who's not, in another country?
But who's going to take the likes of him off your hands?
Yeah,
absolutely no one.
It's not even like he's that bad for you when he's played. It's just he never plays. It's a bit like Keita for Liverpool. Doesn't matter whether he's any good or not. It's irrelevant. He just doesn't play enough to make it worth having.
I know, but it's other things as well, Tris. It seems to be like a cancer going through Everton. In that, even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who I still believe is a decent player, but when he was injured, he was in magazines wearing clothes, doing photo shoots.
Wearing clothes? I mean, God, what's the cheek of it?
Yeah, I don't want to sound sexist or anti-gay or whatever, but he was in, should I say, women's clothes and wearing handbags and all that. There's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. But if you're a professional footballer, you should be concentrating on getting yourself fit and doing your training, not be plastered all over magazines, doing photo shoots. And it just shows you the mentality of the players, that they're more interested in outside projects rather than they are of playing football. And he's one of them. He's part of the problem.
What I would say is, when you're a footballer, you can do what the fucking hell you like, so long as the team is winning. The minute the team's not winning, you've got to be out of the limelight, unless your limelight is you on the pitch helping the team to turn it around. Other than that,
exactly.
You know what I mean? This is a sport. You can't be seen to be reveling in defeat, because it's not. It's just you've got fans to worry about. They're supporting you, and then they're seeing you just cashing in on things when you're doing, when the team's doing badly, and it just shows you're not actually that much of a team player, because you don't give a shit about the team. You're just interested in what you can earn for yourself.
Exactly,
That's
Chris.
how.
But it's not just him, by the way. It's not just him.
No.
I'm not having just to go at him. There's other players who are not producing it
Mm.
on the pitch, and they don't seem that interested that they are losing. They might be, but they're not showing it. They're not. There's only players like, I'd say, Cody, the keeper Pickford, who's really, and Tarkovsky, who are really look as though they're really disappointed when a ball goes in. The others are strolling back. Not picking up players. The midfield is absolutely awful. Onana's a young kid. He's only a young lad. He's only just come to the club. And I think he's got a bit about him. But he needs players around him, and he hasn't got them. He hasn't got no help there whatsoever. And, it's just a real mess at the moment. And it's so sad for Evertonians, to see. And that's why the frustration builds up. And that's why they're calling for the heads of not only Frank Lampard, but the board. And because they're frustrated. They are all frustrated.
Yeah, because
and it's a shame to say.
Have you voted in the vote of no confidence in the board? The one on
I have actually.
Yeah.
On the website I did, yeah. It was up to when I voted it was 9,600 I think when I voted. Just on 10,000, I believe it's over 10,000 now. How many will vote and what difference it'll make is another thing. But you can't have confidence in the way they've acted. They've acted with no dignity after what happened at the weekend. For them not to go. Simon Jordan actually come out and said, if that's my club, no one's stopping me going to a game to watch them. There was no threats. The police had been informed of no death threats, no bad things on social media that would cause a person not to go. And that Denise Barrett-Baxendale alleged assault by a fan has turned out to be absolute rubbish. And none of them went to the game because they couldn't show their faces in front of the fans who were going to protest against them. And that was their way of getting out of the accountability for what the mess they put the club in.
I'm really shocked at that, though, that Ken Wright didn't go.
I'm thinking, and I've always been a big supporter of Bill Kenwright, but I think he might be now part of the problem.
Oh,
I don't think he's being.
I'm sure it's time for him to move on. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think build a statue to him, name a stand after him. He's done great for the club in previous years, but now it's time for Bill to go. I'm afraid. I don't want him to be seen as this pariah who done no good for Everton for years because he did. But now his time has come and his time has gone, and it's time for Bill to leave. I don't want to see him as a pariah and to be ridiculed by fans like he's getting now. And I don't like that. I don't like that because he's been a good Everton man for years. But his time's up now. And he can't do nothing to halt the slide. So it's time even Bill stepped aside and let someone in who can change things,
Yep. No, I think he's definitely it's time for him to go. He's can't be having any say in the matter because there's no way he'd miss a game. There's no way that man would ever miss a game if he's not got any power. Then there's pointless in being there. He's just there as the buffer for the people to scream at, rather than Moshiri getting it in the neck. That's what it is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So yeah, he should walk away. He should walk away while he can, with his head held
I
high.
think so. I think so, Trish. Yeah, it is time for him to go. But we're all talking about this. But will anything get done? I can still see in 4 weeks' time it being the same lineup, the same manager, and the same board. I can't see things changing. I wish I could say it's not, but I think it's going to be the same 4 weeks' time. And if it is, we'll be in even more serious trouble than what we are now.
Yeah, I can't see anything changing either, I've got to be honest.
No.
It'll be a big surprise if they did change anything anyway.
Yeah, it'd be a major surprise to me, I can assure you.
Maybe
But it's where we
a
are.
bit lucky.
Go on. Yeah, if we got a win against West Ham the weekend, maybe, and they galvanised themselves and actually showed they cared, and the board come out and admitted that they've been wrong and they've been shabby and they've made bad decisions, maybe the fans will forgive them. But at the moment, they're not in a very forgiving mood, I must tell you. Go on, Pete, what are you going to say, mate?
Oh, he's gone quiet. Typical, he obviously isn't listening no more. That's a shame, because I wanted to ask him about the next thing. Is he still there? Seamus, you there, mate? No, he's not talking. Well, I wanted to touch on something that involves Everton and Manchester United and Liverpool and that. We have slightly touched on it already, just mentioned it. It's the Deloitte Money League. Is it Deloitte? Is that how you pronounce it? Come on, Seamus. Deloitte.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say, for starters, it's a nonsense thing anyway about the who's the richest. It's not actually who's the richest anyway. It just shows the club's revenues for the season. That's all for a year. For those who haven't seen it, top of the pile is Man City with 731 million revenue, which obviously, I mean, that's not even true anyway, because they've got a whole group of clubs that feeds money and players into their, so it's not actually genuinely what they earn. So, and it doesn't take any account. Obviously, it doesn't take any account of outgoings as well and stuff. So then you got Real Madrid in second, Liverpool in third, Manchester United have dropped to fourth behind Liverpool for the first time that I can remember. Paris Saint-Germain are in fifth. Bayern Munich just behind them. Barcelona seventh, Chelsea eighth, Tottenham ninth, Arsenal 10th behind Tottenham, which surprised me. Shows how much the difference the stadium can earn. Juve 11th, 12th Atletico, 13th is Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan 14th, West Ham were 15th, which is a bit of a surprise as well. AC Milan 16th, Leicester City 17th. I mean, Leicester.
Oh, yeah, that's a surprise.
Leeds United 18th. I can see that one. Big shock in 19th though. Some club called Everton. I must be the Uruguayan one or something, mustn't it? And then Newcastle were 20th. And their revenue was 212 million, and Man City's was 731. So there's a big wave there behind on that.
Yeah.
But obviously you're classed as 19th in the world in revenue, but you're in such a mess on the pitch. When you look at that though, there's 5 clubs there that are in a mess. Like in England alone, in Chelsea,
West
Ham, Leicester, Leeds, and Everton. That's 5 clubs there that are struggling, and that's not counting teams like Juve, who are a mess. Atletico in trouble. Inter aren't doing so well, are they, this season, or have they recovered now?
No.
I can't remember
I think they might have recovered a bit.
Milan, I don't know. Neither of the Milan sides are doing particularly well because Napoli's running away with it.
Yeah.
So, you look at that. I mean, it just shows that isn't the only thing that matters.
No. Are you surprised that Liverpool will be in third?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's always been one of the surprise to me is Man City being first because they've got no fans. We know they've got. The ground's full because they buy the tickets themselves, so they get a sellout, so they can put more for the FFP. We know this is what's going on. It's part of the scam that's going on with the fake sponsors and all that just happen to be companies owned by the owners. It's the whole thing's a sham. So you can't really take any notice of this money league thing because how much of it is genuinely real money that they're earning and not just being backhanded by the owners and that
Yeah.
to for extra money. Sorry. I mean that's a surprise in Man City because obviously, like I said, how much is genuinely they're earning. Their sponsorship deal we know's been massively inflated over its worth. The crowd, I mean, they always report full stadium every single week. Their home their home stadium's full according to the ticket sales. But you look at the games and half the stadium's empty every week. So
Yeah.
how is we know this is happening? I mean, I'd put it down to, like in the past, I'd put it down to just people not saying. But you look at it and there's just no way. There's no way. It's not even close to full. Not even close to being
No,
half.
it's part of the corruption that's endemic in the Premier League and other leagues in the world, I suppose. Stats and all this about money, it's all a big fiddle. And it's never going to clean its act up. I can't see it anyway.
Well, yeah, and how much of this is, and the revenue and that, how much of it is the false accounting that Juve have been doing? How much of it's based on that? I mean, how much is Man City, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Man United, Paris? How much of that is actually genuinely their revenue? How much of it is down to this photo? How many of them are writing off players out and stuff like that? The markets that Paratici was doing, who seems to be he's already upset Conte by the looks of things, hasn't he? Paratici.
Creative accountancy, yeah, it's you can't take any store by what they're printing. Even Deloitte, who are very well respected, it's all false accounting for me.
What the whole thing? I mean,
go on.
Oh, so I was going to say the whole thing is just a sham to earn money, to get clicks on their site anyway, isn't it? It's just to get publicity and their name in the papers, because it's a pointless thing. The money league, it's irrelevant. Doesn't matter how much revenue you earn. It's how much revenue you earn after the outgoings. It's your profit that matters, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Chris.
What do you think, Seamus?
Is he with us? Or has he gone back to sleep?
Is he still missing? God.
Yeah.
He's probably chatting up his beard again.
Right, I think I've said enough about Everton.
You sure
Everyone
you've got
knows
nothing
my
else to moan
stance on
about?
it. No, I think I've done enough moaning today, to be honest. Justified, I must say. I think I feel the same as the majority of Everton fans. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that the club is an absolute mess. And I think everyone, if you read the sites, everyone's agreeing that things have got to change. Whether they will is another thing. But very, very disappointed to be an Evertonian and embarrassed to be an Evertonian at this time with what the board done on Saturday, and hope for improvement. Not too confident about that happening, but I just have to see and try and ride out this storm and maybe get a couple of wins. Get another 20 points. Go on, mate.
Sorry, one quick question for you. You can make one change, only one change between, right now. You can make one change. That's it, and you're gonna have to stick with that for the rest of the season. You can change either, you can change the Thelwell, you can change Moshiri, you can change Lampard, but you can only do one change before the end of the season. Which one would you make?
Personally, the manager. I think our best hope of survival is to change the manager as soon as possible. Not something that I like saying. I like to, I'm the biggest advocate of giving, like Potter is now, giving Potter a chance. they're in 10th or whatever, Chelsea, and he mightn't get the chance. But as I say, I don't like giving managers stick. It's not just their problem. It's their whole setup with Everton. But I think the only way to give the supporters a bit of hope is for it to happen on the pitch. A lot of disagree with me and say the best thing would be for Mashiri to leave. But if you could only pick one, for this time and space that we're in at the moment, I'd say the manager might have to go, would be the best thing for Everton.
That's why I wondered whether you'd take the short-term view of surviving is the important thing, or
yeah, absolutely.
the
that
long-term
would
view
have
that
to
you
be.
need to change it.
Yeah, most people would say get Mashiri out of our club. A lot would say get Bill Kenwright out the club as well. But me personally, I think the only way we can survive is if we change the manager. And I say I don't like saying that because managers need time. If it comes to that, Ferguson would have been sacked at United after his first 15 or 18 games. Arteta would have been gone last year before, and they're now top of the league. And, unless you give managers time, but we're not in the position where we can actually give the manager time, I feel.
I've got to say,
I think it's broken.
I don't think you can compare the situation with Ferguson, for example, or for that matter,
they're all
Arteta.
calling for his head. They were all calling for his head.
What I mean is,
after 18 games.
I fully understand that because of what he took over. The club had a drinking culture and that, and he was trying to break that up. And you can't just. You didn't have that. He's not walked in and had those kind of problems. Instead, he's walked in to a club that's been short of money. He knew was short of money, yet he's then wanted to buy players for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Rather than said, well, let's look in the bargain basement and stuff. So he's actually compounded the problem rather than helped. The same with Thelwell. That's why you've got 3 people who need to go, desperately need to be changed, rather than just one. Because they're all making it wrong.
I'm going by your rules. You can only pick one.
Know. That's what I say. That's why it was such a hard choice to give.
If you said 27, if you can pick 27, I'd have been in my element.
And you'd still be. The thing is, you could change 27, and you'd still need to make more.
Absolutely, Tris. You really would.
Yeah,
you really would.
That's just the squad.
Yeah. Then you've got Denise Barrett-Baxendale. She's got to go. All the money people. All the board, the chairman, the owner, 90% of the players, the manager, the tea lady, most of them have got to go. But you only let me pick one, so I picked one. Yeah, but she can't be serving up very good tea if they come out at half time and lose a 1-0 lead. Then you really.
Oh my God, I'm aging old now. Now it's the tea ladies' fault. Oh my God.
Everyone's getting it tonight.
Oh, things really
Everyone's getting it tonight.
Poor Doris. Poor Doris. She's going to go home and cry herself to sleep.
I think I've said enough bad things about Everton, so I'm going to sign off now.
I'm quite enjoying it.
Make it down and think about Everton and hope, just hope above all, hope that we survive this year. And we try to build, we see the cancer that's in the club, the shit show that's going on, let that all be in the past and start anew next year, even if it's with lesser players, apparently, start using the kids a bit more, start using bargain buys that want to actually play for the club rather than these prima donnas who are on big money and don't give an absolute toss about the club. So I just hope that Everton get their act together for the last 18 games of the season and get enough points to survive and build.
It's only halfway. That's the thing you got to remember. There's plenty
of
time to recover. But you're in such a fucking mess. I mean, you really are.
Trish, yeah. I wish I could disagree with you, mate. We're in a real mess.
I can't remember ever
You know,
seeing Everton that
normally
bad.
you'd say after seasons ago, you know, but you've got to look at it and say, you know, there is half a season to go, but can you see them getting points? Who can you see them beating? Who's a worse team than Everton at the moment? There isn't one. There isn't one at the moment. And that's the frustrating thing. The light at the end of the tunnel's been switched off, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sadly. And if it does come on,
Yeah.
it's because the train's about to hit you.
Absolutely. Head on.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
right, Tris, I'm going to head off, mate. Thanks very much for having me today. And so I'm going to, with every heart, get me tea, get me head down, and start studying the site to see if anyone's been sacked yet.
Cry yourself to sleep if not, yeah?
I will do.
Take
Right,
care,
thanks
mate.
very much, Chris. I shall see you next week.
See you
Ta-da,
next
Deeps, are you still
Thursday.
about? Yeah, ta-da, mate.
And if
Ta-da now.
Seamus isn't about, I'm going to call it there, and I don't think he is because he's gone very quiet. So, see you next Thursday, anybody that's still listening. Well, anyway.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Take care.
Ta-da now.
Bye-bye.